there was a game last night that was critical for the 49ers. After losing 3 games in the conference, 2 in the division, and blowing leads against both the Rams and the Cardinals, they get out to a 16-0 lead, and it's 16-3 just before half, and then it's 23-3. They score on the first drive of the second half. I figure, okay, they don't have to worry. It's over. They don't have to worry about blowing another game. And then lo and behold, the San Francisco 49ers tried to blow it. It makes for an exciting game for us, but I was stunned they let the Seahawks back into it. I was stunned it came down to a fourth quarter interception, Roddy. The 49ers have got to learn how to finish.
And I think that's what's going on right now, Mike. They're going through a phase where they're trying to, figure out this team. This is a different team. They've had a bunch of injuries. They've incorporated some guys both on offense and on the defensive side of the ball. And when you're a really good football team, there comes a point in time where you kind of just put on cruise control and you think that, okay, we know each other. We can figure this thing out along the way. But they got the quarterback. They got the offensive coordinator and Kyle Shanahan. They still have Debo and those guys. And for me, Mike, I'm not really nervous about the 49ers. I know good teams get lazy at some point in times, but they know how to turn it on, turn it off. This is not the same intimidating defense. They got some young guys playing in that secondary, but those young guys, they stepped up and picked off Geno Smith a couple times.
And that was the key, the one at the end. Rookie gets across and gets the ball and basically ends it at that point. It wasn't over, but it felt over with that interception. The Seahawks, it felt like, had a chance. They get the ball back deep in their own territory, but they're down 6, and it kind of felt like Geno Smith was going to do something. And Geno Smith has been great this year. He had a couple of interceptions last night, but he had 312 passing yards, threw the ball 52 times. I'd like to see a little more balance, but the problem is when you're down 16-3, balance goes out the window. And it wasn't until really that 2-minute drive when they ended up with 3 instead of 7 that it felt like the offense woke up. I mean, that was the key. The 49ers just absolutely suffocated the Seahawks offense in the first half while they built that lead. And it should have been worse than 16-0. The 49ers sputtering in the red zone again, getting 3 field goals instead of 4 touchdowns, which would have put the game out of reach before the Seahawks could have had a chance to get back. But you're right. Look, go ahead.
Let's not forget about the kickoff return. That's what really sparked the Seattle Seahawks with that kickoff return for a touchdown. That's when you start to see them get into the game. They started getting excited. The defense started to play a little bit better. But this was really the changing point of the game. And I mean, to be able to have a play like this, your offense is struggling, your defense is struggling, and then all of a sudden your offense starts to kick in, your defense starts to play a little bit better. But this was the play that really sparked the resurgence of the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, and something that I'm curious about, Rodney, is the question of whether or not the kickoff that resulted in the touchdown was supposed to be short or was deliberately short. Matthew Wright is the guy that replaced Jake Moody. He's the guy they signed this week and might be injured to the point where they have to find another one because he made a tackle on a kickoff near the end of the game. We assume that you can just automatically put the ball in the end zone and concede the 30. You still have to successfully put the ball into or out of the end zone. Because one of the things we heard, and Coach Dungy's been big on this, and I think this is absolutely true, you're up 23-3 in the third quarter. You don't give them an opening by giving them a chance to return the kickoff for a touchdown. You kick it out of the end zone. But even when it's late in the game and the 49ers are up multiple scores and the ball's in play, I just wonder whether or not they had a kicker who couldn't put it in the end zone, because that as teams study what other teams do with the kick, last night was a classic example of why you kick it out. On one, you give up a long return for a touchdown, and on another, you get your kicker injured.
It's easy to say that when we saw it happen. But for the most part, this entire year, it hasn't been a bunch of kickoffs. What it's been like 2 kickoffs returned for touchdowns. So for me, I don't mind kicking it in play and just seeing how your special teams, how they kind of run down, how they cover things. So to me, it's not that big of a deal, Mike.
Now, it looks like the last one was deliberately short because it was recovered at the 12, but they're up 36-24. when you're up multiple scores that late, just don't take any chances for Lightning to strike and screw everything up. Make them drive, make them use clock, make them tear up and chew up territory. Play defense when your defense is improving the way it is. Offensively, they overcame the injury to Jordan Mason, who it looked like at first he fell on the ball, and maybe he did. Maybe that's how he injured his shoulder. It wasn't clear what was injured at first, but it was a shoulder injury. He was in the locker room for a while. He came back, tried to play, didn't work. He was on the sidelines in uniform the rest of the game. But this is the 49ers offense. If one guy goes down, in comes another. Christian McCaffrey out, Jordan Mason in. Jordan Mason out, Isaac Guerrero in. He ended up with 99 yards. Most of them came on that play that was really the backbreaker when it felt like, hey, there's still a chance here for the Seahawks after they score a touchdown and kick off and they have all 3 timeouts. Hey, we got a chance, we got a shot, and then boom, there goes Guerrero. But it just shows you how good the 49ers running game is. And it's like it was with Mike Shanahan in Denver. Even though they got a superstar in Christian McCaffrey, you can put anybody in there. You can put anybody in there that's competent running back, and they're going to make an impact. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.